Service, sharing Earth's resources, voluntarily implementing creative exchange. This is step 5. Live for free. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you have been watching and listening, you know that this is an opportunity in the time we're living in to create something that we have the power to define, and that is a means of exchange. A means of exchange that is available to everyone, a means of exchange that is equal for everyone and accessible for everyone and beneficial for everyone. It's a means of exchange that empowers us. And it also helps to remind us that what we do for others, we're really doing for ourselves. Just like a body where the blood is circulating, you want the blood to circulate to every part of the body, because any part of the body that doesn't get blood starts to die. And if that part dies and has to be amputated, it's going to affect the entire body. So the current monetary system that we have, in which it's not circulating among many parts of our body, our human family, it's not circulating in a way that keeps us in a state of health and well-being. And so parts of our body are becoming ill. We can make them well by circulating something that is going to empower every part of the body to participate and function in a healthy manner. We've introduced a concept: sharing Earth's resources, voluntarily implementing creative exchange. It's a simple concept. It just means that all of the things you have and all of the things you do for free. And all of the people within your group, your circle of friends you know, like, and trust will do the same, simply because they desire for your well-being. And within your group, you provide what each other needs. And so no one has to do without anything if there's someone in the group that has what they need. Now, to make this easier for people who are used to the idea of someone having more than them or someone shortchanging them, we've developed a basic point system based on the dollar system. So 1 point equals $1. 1 point equals 1 minute of time spent. So based on that calculation, as you give to someone, they give you the point value of what you've given, whether it be services in time, or an item that you have priced. And you're keeping track of these points on your cell phone. And that's why this device is all you need in order to participate. And if you are willing to trust those whom are part of your circle of friends, associates, even family that you know, like, and trust, then you keep track of the points that you've been receiving based on your service, whether it is an item that you've given or time that you've given to do a thing. And whoever you've given it to, they give you points. You can spend them with anyone in the group, and they'll do likewise. It's just like money, except it's money that we've defined. We've defined ourselves as having value. Not a piece of paper, not a coin, not a shiny rock in the earth. Our own value. We are value. We are the money. We are the currency. And all of us can participate because all of us are. We are the value that we're trading. And in this way, no one is any higher class or lower class than anyone else because everyone can issue points to someone who serves them or gives to them. Everyone has points. You don't have to pay for an expensive membership in some club or have your bank account deducted every month. Just be. Be the person who serves. That's all. So we're going to go over the process of making your cell phone the means whereby you transact your business. The important thing about this is that it is, in fact, based on total transparency. And everyone has access to the same information because it's right there on your cell phone. And you are creating an ongoing record of everything you do. And it's simple. Now, of course, we're going to review once again the steps involved so that you can be prepared for this next step. Step one, of course, is to change your mind. And that's a critical thing to do because in order for you to participate, you have to desire for the well-being of others, which means you want them to have what they need. You want them to be able to live comfortably. You want them to enjoy life. You want that for them. That's not the basis of our current economic system. Our current economic system is based on fear, fear that others will not share, fear that there's not enough for everyone to have. Our whole system is based on that incorrect thought. So you have to change your mind, and we've given you the statistics so that you can see how much space there is on the earth. There is more than enough room for everybody. And the idea that people won't share, well, people won't share because they've been taught that there's not enough. So when you change your mind based on your interaction with people that you already know, like, and trust, people for whom you desire their well-being, it's a lot easier it's a lot easier to give, to serve, to provide for free that which is needed by those you care about. Now, of course, the programming that makes us not trust is the biggest challenge you will face because we're programmed based on the systems that we follow and the systems that govern our lives. We are programmed to think in terms of somebody's going to try to get more for me than they're willing to give me. Somebody's going to try to do me in. Somebody's going to try to get over on me. We have that fear based on how we've been treated. And so if we can get over the fear, if we can get over the fear, we can actually do what's natural, and that is to share. Now, step 2 is to recognize your wealth. The reason why this is possible at this time is because there is so much an overabundance of things, possessions, especially in a country like America, where people are wasting things, wasting food, wasting material goods, throwing things in the garbage. There's whole businesses on reselling old stuff that people just don't need anymore. You have so many people hoarding things because they're fearing that there's not enough. And so they create junk out of the things that they do have because they don't preserve it. They don't give it away when they no longer need it, but it's still useful to somebody. Fear creates hoarders. So when we actually go through the process of labeling, of listing every single thing that we have, that's a long process. And we've on the website that you'll be using made it easy to categorize things. But of course, you will see how much you have that you're not using. And we're not saying everything. Just list the things that are in your drawers that you don't use, in boxes that you don't even think about, in bins, on shelves, in bags, all the clothing and closets that you don't even, way back in the closet, you don't even see them anymore. Things that you are holding on to that could be circulating. Recognize it. Furniture, things on shelves, all kinds of things, old appliances. Recognize your wealth because that's what it is. And then we've asked you to identify your friends because they're going to be part of the group with whom you interact. And they're going to do the same thing. And when you think about all of the people that you know, we've asked you to start out with 5, just 5 in the beginning, just 5 that you know, like, and trust, because you're going to have to perfect the system and discover things about yourself, whether you're still holding on to certain selfishness or certain fears or a certain distrust. You're going to have to work that out of you before you bring in others, because once you bring in others, you will have a systematic way that works. But it takes time to undo the programming of fear. So identify those that you trust, that you believe are mentally and spiritually ready to create something that will empower them and free them. And of course, number 4 is to express your needs. That means think about all the things you are looking for because it's among your friends where you're going to find them, among those people in your group. And don't be afraid to think of every single thing because you never know what someone has the power to do and the power to give, something that is there at their disposal and their discretion to provide. The more you're able to get within your group and the more you're able to circulate the things you need, the more you will feel the wealth that you have because you are getting everything you need and spending nothing. And now, step 5, how to live for free. So, the cell phone that you carry around all day is the instrument by which you will be able to do business. And it's a simple thing. You're going to a website that you have the ability to share with those that are in your circle. So let's take a look at each section here. Now, of course, on the home page, we want you to take a look at the video, which really helps to awaken the memory that we're living on a planet that is absolutely free. And the idea of people owning things is a delusion. And it's to help us to get to the root of that fear that other people control things and can withhold things because that is in fact a delusion and nothing is stopping us from sharing. And we really have to remember that because it doesn't matter who's in the White House, who's in the State House, who's in city council. Nobody is stopping you from sharing with people. Absolutely nobody. And if you give a value to your things and your time, and the people that you interact with agree to that value, then you have all you need to create a system of exchange. That's all money is. So prepare to use the power that you already have. And you always had it. You always had it. So, step 1, you're going to create your service profile. And on your phone, you have the capacity to pull up this website. And using a very basic tool, you can fill out each of these items. And that is what makes it so simple because you don't have to buy an expensive website. All you have to do is pull it up on your phone. And if you do that, it's right here, right on your cell phone. And when you scroll down, and you're able to simply hit the link, and what you're going to do is take a screenshot, and then what will pop up is the edit function on your phone. You hit the plus sign, hit add text, and you can write in everything. And then once you filled it out, take a screenshot, and there you have your record. Now, each person in your group will do the same. And what you're going to create, once you have filled out all of your information, and we recommend that perhaps you write it down first, just to make it simpler, because you're going to have listing all of your possessions when it comes to step 3. But first, your service group. So you're going to scroll down to step 2, and that is the group of people that you know, like, and trust. And that group of people, you're going to create a very simple means of each of you being able to stay connected through a group text. That service group text is the means whereby everyone is made aware of everyone's transaction. Everything is transparent. So you know who has exchanged with who, because each time there's a transaction, you take a screenshot and send it to the group text. It's just that simple. So you will have an opportunity to have an ongoing record of all of the transactions in your group. Now, of course, if you are hesitant for people to know your business, so to speak, that's something you have to go back to step 1. Change your mind, because this is transparency. It's honesty. If you're worried about, well, I don't want people to know I have this, I don't want people to know what I'm doing, then the change of mind is that all of this, everything you have are just things that you're using while you're here. Once you transition out of this physical life, none of these things matter. And let me tell you, I've seen people leave this world with a whole bunch of stuff behind. And sometimes everything that they valued got tossed in the garbage. So you need to know, whatever you're holding on to, it really has no value other than the value you give it. And it has no value if it's stuffed in a drawer. It only has value if it's circulating. So people knowing what you have is not diminishing you in any way at all. And you knowing what they have is not diminishing them at all, because all of it is to be circulated among those who need. So the next step, of course, step 3, hit the link and you'll be able to list all of your possessions. You have wealth you never even thought of. Go through all of your closets, drawers, storage boxes, garage spaces, and list all unused items that are still usable. Someone needs what you have. If you want to calculate the value of your items, figure one service point is equal to $1. Be fair in your service points and pricing items, and your abundance will increase. So, this is where you can really declutter, because you get a chance to really see what you're holding on to that's useful and what you're holding on to that's worthless. So, as you make inventory of everything you have that you could circulate, if something isn't usable, toss it in the garbage. Or better yet, if it's something recyclable, if it's plastic or metal, recycle it. Give it back to the earth or give it back to those industries that can repurpose it. As much as possible, recycle, but definitely get it out of your house. Don't hold on to junk. Circulate that even among those who do recycling. And you may want to have someone in recycling that's part of your group at some point, because they'll be able to give you points for giving away things that would have been garbage. So just think about it. Now, sometimes people say, well, I'd rather just get paid money. Well, that's fine. But if you were going to really put forth the effort to go and take it to a recycling company, you would have done it already. But you've been holding on to it forever. So maybe you can just call somebody who actually does that, and they'll take it and they'll give you points. And that way, it actually is something that you are benefiting from without you leaving your house, which you weren't going to do anyway because you never did it. And that's why the stuff is still sitting there. But take this time to declutter and take the time to determine the things that you're holding on to, if you really are ever going to use them. And if you're not, then those need to be on that list that you're going to give. You're going to give in exchange for service points. Now, of course, those who are on that list, those who are part of your group that you create, that you're going to interact with, your service group, and step 2, these people also will have all the lists of all of their possessions. So when you do your group text and you're able to see what everyone has, then when you go to step 4 and you're able to express what you desire, then you'll be able to see where someone may have what you need. Now, as we said earlier, you may not be able to do a direct exchange, but you can certainly receive something from someone and they issue you points if they receive something from you. And then both of you may end up using those points with someone else. So if you are able to see what you have within that group, then you're just making a request. I need this. They give it to you. You give them the point value. But you haven't lost anything, and neither have they, because they have something that they can use to get what they need. And this is how you're able to live for free. Now, each of you has a record of all that you have, and your group has access to all of each other's things. Just like a Craigslist, you go to the categories and see who has what. Make the request. Well, you've got a phone, call them up. I like this. Okay, I'll give it to you. And there it is. Now, we recommend that that first circle of 5 people, be within a geographical area where it's not difficult for you to exchange or for them to get something to you or do something for you. You don't want to start out with people in California yet, because anything outside of what you control in terms of delivery, you will end up paying actual money for. If there's something someone's giving you, but they've got to ship it, well, the person who's receiving, you're the one responsible for the dollars, the actual currency that is used in this society, if that is required from someone that is not within physical distance of reaching you. So it's always better to start out this system of making it possible for people to see you and give to you. Just like, again, if you've ever shopped on Craigslist, people might go across town and pick up an item, go, a few neighborhoods over, a few blocks over, a few miles. It's not that much. Based on what they want, it's not like you're spending an enormous amount of gas money. It's within your sphere of travel, so it isn't costing. This is the same thing. You can get something from someone that doesn't live that far away, so it's not costing you to get to them. But if you're trying to get something from someone who lives in another state and they've got to ship it to you, then you're responsible for that shipping cost. So we recommend your first 5 people be those people that can easily get to you, easily give to you. You can easily get to them. You can easily bring yourself to them or bring something to them that they need. Now, of course, the points are recorded right here on this page. And it's a simple process because every transaction within your group is transparent for everyone. So it's simple. When you have a record and you start with your transaction date, who, the person's name, and the ID that each person has, first and last name, and first and last initial, and phone number. And what you provided and what was received, and what those points are that were transferred. And now we want to encourage good interaction. So we're asking that you rate the transaction from 5 to 1, with 5 being most satisfied and 1 being least satisfied. If you have a problem and there's conflict, well, we want you to keep track of that because it's important that you work out those difficulties so that every transaction is a 5. Now, of course, adding service members, anyone with a cell phone and an email address can join the group simply by providing a service or product to a member or having a member provide a service or product to them. Any member of the group can pull up another member's service record. All transactions are transparent to ensure honesty by all participants. Only add members you can trust to maintain this policy. So for the basic thing that you need, it's right here on your cell phone. And you have the capacity. Every time there's a transaction, all you do is simply take a screenshot and put it in the text message, the group text with your group. And so the group text will have just running transactions. And it's a simple thing, because at some point, as you get more, you're going to want to create a folder on your email that simply says service. And you can take all of those transaction records, email them to yourself, and put it in that folder. And everyone will have one with the records. So this is a simple way to keep track of what you're doing as a group. Just think of how many group texts you have with your friends where you're talking about nothing or sharing TikTok posts and all these other things. It's an easy system. You're doing it already. So simply create this group text as your service group text and keep track of all of your transactions by taking a screenshot and sending on the group text every time there's a transaction. It's so simple. And you'll find that as you do this, something inside of you changes. You'll change the way you see possessions. You'll change the way you interact with people, because you'll be thinking, how can I give them something so that they can give me points so I can get more of what I need? So we want you to think in terms of adding to your group, because you may have people and your friends may have people that they would like to consider being part of the group, especially if they have access to things that are needed. So when you look at adding members to your group, again, everybody has an ID, and that is simply the name and the service ID of the person whom you're trading. And that service ID is the first and last initial of the name and the phone number. So that is so simple. And when you are used to just sending a screenshot of a transaction, and that is your money, you will find that it's so much easier to give. And you look for ways to give to people and to add people. So once again, anyone with a cell phone and an email address can join the group, and they're added to the group text, and they simply provide a service or product to a member, or have a member provide a service or product to them. Any member of the group can pull up another member's service record, and all transactions are transparent to ensure honesty by all participants. But you only want to add members to your group that you can trust to maintain that policy. And that's why integrity is an important step, because people are coming into your group and you're trusting them to be fair with what they're pricing their things. And once again, if you know that 1 point is equal to 1 minute, if someone does something for you and they say, oh, well, I gave you legal advice and I usually charge $150 an hour. So you have to give me 150 points. No, this system is 1 point per minute, which is $60 an hour. So if you're feeling like, well, I don't want to get less, if that's your thought, then this is not a system that you're ready to participate in with this particular group, because everybody's time is of equal value. And that might be a hard thing for people to grasp if they have been conditioned to see themselves as more valuable than others. But to know that your time giving legal advice is just as valued as the time given to the person who's mowing the lawn. Are you able to make that transition in thought that we're all equal? That might be the biggest challenge for some people, to value everyone's time equally, because everyone is of equal value. Now, when it comes to your possessions, again, it's your discretion, your calculation, but be fair. If you're circulating things and you know they're used, don't try to overprice things to get more points when you know that the value has to take into consideration that this is pre-owned items. These are pre-owned items and not store-bought, and therefore may have some wornness about them. But if you and the person that has requested this thing, just like on Craigslist, okay, I'm giving this to you for these amount of points, well, I'll accept that. If you agree, then it's fine. The thing is for us to get into the habit of giving freely and seeing the benefit of giving to someone because they have something to give to us, because everybody has points. Everybody can serve and receive points. So this can remove the poverty of people who are locked out of a monetary system because they are not able to get hired by someone who has money to pay them. If you look down the road and you see the increase of such a system, you see eventually it will eliminate all poverty. And that's the goal. So, how do you get to the point where this is a way of life? Well, there are some frequently asked questions, and we're going to answer them because these are issues that do arise. And this is why we want you to start out with those that you know, like, and trust, so that the trust factor is not the biggest issue. But frequently asked questions. What if I want to share an item I have in exchange for service points, but it costs to mail it? Who pays the money for the delivery cost? Well, of course, the question of delivery costs for items creates an opportunity for someone in your group to provide a delivery service in exchange for service points. We encourage person to person exchanges when possible to eliminate this issue, but when not possible, the person receiving the item pays the cost for delivery. Just think of all of the delivery services that have been created as a result of the pandemic, the opportunities that were created. Whenever there's a need, there's an opportunity. So when there's something that's needed in your group that no one has, that's an opportunity for someone either to provide it or to find someone who provides it and add them to the group. Now, second, what if we disagree on the value of an item being exchanged for service points? This is like any other buying and selling situation you encounter. If you disagree on how much an item is worth, find someone with the item you need who is offering it for the amount of service points you believe it is worth. If you believe an item you're offering is worth a certain amount of service points, find someone who needs it who's willing to issue you the service points you stated it is worth. Don't argue. Just find people who agree. Because ultimately, no one wants to feel like they were cheated. So rather than try to talk someone down or make someone give more than what they would like to give, just find where you can agree and therefore no one's angry. So, number three, what if I'm not pleased with the quality of work someone provided? Can I refuse to issue service points to them? Somebody's supposed to cut your hair and they cut it all crooked. How do you feel about that? Well, fairness and honesty is the key to a successful interaction. We must seek to provide excellent work, whatever it is. We also have an opportunity to rate each service transaction as an added incentive for each member of the group to be honest and fair in striving to satisfactorily fulfill whatever work is being offered in exchange for service points. Since your service group will initially be comprised of people you know, like, and trust, you should be able to amicably correct any problem in work performed so that the agreed upon service points can be issued. As your group expands to include those you may not know as well, you may need to rely more on the ratings they have received for previous transactions before deciding to work with them. So each transaction is not only recorded but rated, and that is added to the group text that keeps track of every single thing that's done in the group. Now, you can hit this information request button and contact us if you've got questions. And certainly, if you can think of 5 people, start out with 5 people that you know, like, and trust, you can begin the process of living for absolutely free. We do have the power to eliminate poverty. Your creative energy is the unlimited abundance you have to share with others in exchange for whatever you need from others. If you believe you're living in poverty, that means you're not recognizing your abundance. Service is the solution. And if you're still believing that someone else has to give you the approval of doing this, we want you to once again watch the video. Why are we paying to live when the earth is free? It's a powerful opportunity to change your mind and to remind you that everything that's here is here for everyone who's here. No one owns anything. We're using what's here for our benefit. And no one is more important than anyone else. No one's time is more valuable than anyone else. No one is chosen to be above anyone else. We are all of equal value on this earth, all of us. And all that is here is to be shared with all who are here. We can live in peace, just like the bees, all working together to make that honey. And nobody is firing anybody from a job or making them punch a time clock or making them work overtime against their will. It's a collective mindset, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics. All of these things we have been taught the theory of. Now we have a chance to put it in practice. Now just think, if you were sweeping a floor because it needs to be swept for someone who is perhaps ill and can't get up, and you're doing this because you love them. And at the end of your sweeping this floor, not only did they give you great praise and gratitude, but you've been sweeping that floor for 45 minutes. Every room in the house, you're dusting, you're cleaning because you love them. And they give you 45 points. And you know, you've got a friend that's got a toaster, and you've got another friend that's got a vacuum cleaner. And each of them are selling them or giving them to you for points. And you can take those points and get that vacuum cleaner and get that toaster because you helped your friend who was sick in bed and needed somebody to clean their house. Isn't that a wonderful way to live? And your friend didn't have to spend any money. And you were able to get what you needed. And you didn't have to spend any money. This is a currency that everyone has. So we want you to begin to live for free. We want you to identify those people who are ready to be people that you know, like, and trust. Go to www.theserviceonline.org and you can begin to create a moneyless society. I'm Naima Latif. Join me in living for free. We'll see you then.